Y'all, I'm running a little bit behind schedule. I have got to get my tater dirt ready because I need to be planting potatoes in the next week or two. So I'm going to plant 2 plots of potatoes this year. I've got this little plot here where I'm going to plant some of the specialty stuff like some of the fingerling varieties. And if these beets aren't ready to pull by the time it's time to plant taters, then we'll just kind of plant around them, and then once we get them out of the way, we can use that area to pull dirt from when we hill our potatoes. This here's a little wet. It's been tilled once. I need to amend it and probably till it one more time, and it'll be ready to go. And now this plot right here is about twice the size of that little plot I showed you earlier. And this is where we got our cover crop cocktail. And today we need to do something with this, mow it down, incorporate it, and get it ready for taters. As you can see here, some of my radishes are flowering and starting to go to seed. So that means it's time to do something with this cover crop. Now, we initially thought we may have planted them radishes a little too thick, and we may have, but it worked out really well because that 25-degree morning we had kind of burnt back the radishes a little bit. You can see some of that damage there, and really started to let this vetch and these peas thrive in here, and we just got a really good mix of cover crop. Now, I don't know if the radishes in the middle, how big they got. We'll see once we mow it in a minute, but some of these on the edge are huge. You can see that one right there. I'll put my foot up against it. See, that's a pretty good size daikon radish right there. So when we're getting ready to extinguish or remove these cover crops like I've got here, there's a few options as far as how we can do it. If you've got plenty of time, using the tarping method works really good. You can come in here, mow it, then put a tarp on it, and that tarp will help break everything down there so it's easy to plant. And oftentimes, if you use the tarping method, you really don't have to do a lot of tillage or mechanical cultivation of the soil like we're going to have to do today. Now, in this situation, I'm in a little bit of a time crunch. I need to turn over this plot pretty quickly within, a couple weeks. So I'm going to have to mow it and then till it today. If you had a bigger piece of equipment than a just standard walk behind tiller, you might could skip the mowing, but this stuff's pretty thick and it would choke down my tiller. So I'm going to have to mow it first. Now, the tilling part isn't always completely necessary, but in this case, where we've got those daikon radishes or those tillage radishes planted, it's going to really help to kind of carry out the purpose of planting those radishes in the first place. You see, those tillage radishes or those daikon radishes grow long, deep roots, and they scavenge nutrients from way down there deep in the soil. And when you chop up those radishes, it then makes those nutrients available at the soil surface or just a couple inches deep there. So by chopping them up, we're gonna make those nutrients available to our potatoes when we plant them. If we didn't chop them up, those nutrients would never be able to be converted to the top of the soil there. Now, I don't own a tractor with a rotary mower, and it really wouldn't do me any good if I did, because a lot of my plots are kind of closely packed together, and I'd make more of a mess with a tractor than it would be handy. So this is my preferred weapon of choice when I'm mowing down these small cover crops. Now, if it gets really tall, this little push mower can't handle it. But this little guy right here works pretty dang good. And the trick here is to have the mulching deck on it. You don't want to blow this vegetation all over the place. You want to kind of chop it and drop it. So the little mulching kit on this guy allows us to do that. And I did come in here on the other side over there and mow one path the other day just to make sure this would work so I didn't look silly on camera. So let's go ahead and mow this cover crop cocktail down, and then we'll be able to walk out there. First of all, see if it's too wet to till or not, and also see what kind of vegetation, what kind of green manure we have, and see how well those daikons did planted as thick as we planted them. Let's see if there's any big daikons out in the middle of the plot. Whew. All right. That was a tough go in some spots there. That stuff is pretty dang thick. I had to mower deck raised up as high as it would go, but we got it mowed. Let's see what it looks like. So there we go, it's mowed. The amount of vegetation that was in that cover crop, the amount of biomass we produced is absolutely amazing. Here's one of those real big daikons there. You can see the mower cut that puppy in half. Let's see if we pull it up. Yeah, it's a pretty good size one there. Some of these in the middle didn't get near as big. Let me see if I can find one here. So some of these didn't get as big, you can see there, but they'll still do the trick. They'll still kind of tickle that soil, and man, that vetch produces a ton of biomass. You can see all that good green manure there. There's some vetch and then some peas right there, all kind of intertwined together. And so we're gonna have some good stuff to till in and feed the soil right here. I wish you guys could smell this. It just smells so great. Look at all that good green stuff right there. Man, that is good stuff right there. Now this soil here is still pretty moist from us getting a couple inches of rain several days ago, but I'm gonna try to go ahead and till it one time. Because we've got so much biomass there, it might take a couple tillings to kind of get it nice and right, so we can put some potatoes in there and we can heal our potatoes and all that good stuff. So I'm probably going to go ahead and till it one time, just to go ahead and just try to chop everything up a little bit, and then I can amend it and come back and till it again. So let's get the tiller fired up and see if it'll chop this stuff up. Let me tell you, words can't even explain how excited I am about growing potatoes in this plot right here. This is a plot where I've never grown potatoes or any nightshades for that matter, which is a great thing because potatoes have more of an extended crop rotation that you need to practice, because they can be susceptible to a lot of diseases and stuff. So we've never grown potatoes here before, and we've got that cover crop there that just tickled the soil and is going to give all those good nutrients back to the soil now that we've chopped it up. So let's take a look at what we got. Now, in most circumstances, I wouldn't recommend tilling it like I did while it's still wet like this. You can look down here and see it's still pretty wet. But I had to do it today, because if I didn't do it today, that's probably going to push my potato planting back another week or so. So you got to do what you got to do, and tilling it, kind of chopping it up more, will help this soil to dry out more. But just look at that, isn't that beautiful? All that good stuff there, and that stuff will start to break down. Got those radishes chopped up there and incorporated, and all this stuff is going to break down and just feed that soil, make it nice and well conditioned, and going to make some awesome tater dirt. So what are the next steps with this plot? Well, obviously, by the looks of it, we're going to have to cultivate it at least one more time. What we'll probably do is come in here with our chicken manure compost, put a light layer of that down before we till it again, and hopefully only one more tilling will take care of it as some of this stuff starts to break down. So if you've got garden soils that are not very workable, or maybe you've got nice soils and you just want to kind of rehab those soils and get a nice reset on them before you plant stuff in the spring, these cover crop cocktails are a great way to do that. You can grow a lot of biomass in a small space, and by combining different cover crops, you get to combine a lot of the different features that you may need for your soil, such as nitrogen fixation like we get with the vetch and the peas, plus that nutrient scavenging that we're getting from them daikon radishes here. So on our next couple videos, we're going to be continuing to get ready to plant taters. We'll be cutting up our taters because we need to give them time to heal, usually 3 to 4 days, sometimes up to a week. And then we'll be planting taters on a video coming up soon. If you're out there watching, let me know what you're doing to get your tater plot ready for spring. Did you have a cover crop there? Maybe you had it tarped. Let me know what you're doing to get ready for planting taters, and let me know which varieties you're planting. We're going to be planting 8 different varieties here, so I'm really excited about that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give me a big like, give me a big thumbs up and a share, and we will see you guys next time.